Do you remember those bamboo finger traps when we were kids? You would put your fingers in, and instinctually you want to pull apart as hard as you can, yet the more and more you pulled apart, the more frustrating it was. And it's only when you realized to do it different, when you pushed in, that the pressure gave way and you were able to get the finger trap off. I wonder if that's not similar to something that takes place in our Christian lives. We hear a lot about that we are Christians and that there's a battle to be fought. And particularly in our culture, we hear that siren song a lot, that we are called to fight a battle. But I wonder if sometimes we don't have frustration because we're doing it in the wrong way, or maybe we've assessed the battle incorrectly. In Ephesians chapter 6, we are reminded that our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against the authorities, against cosmic powers over this present darkness, against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. And what's interesting about this is it tells us that we're not fighting other people, we're fighting powers in a spiritual battle. And because of that, it probably means different tools and different instincts than we tend to think about or tend to come naturally to us when we feel our hearts rev up for a fight. And Ephesians 6 tells us twice what we are supposed to do. And so first in Ephesians 6, verse 11, put on the whole armor of God. And notice the reason why, so that you might be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Again in verse 34, therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand firm. There's a purpose for the armor of God that he gives us, and that's that we might be able to stand faithfully, that we might be able to withstand the attacks that come. Notice it doesn't say that we might be able to be victorious or that we carry the day, but we're instructed to put on the whole armor of God. And even the way we fight is revealed in a very distinctively Christian way in Ephesians chapter 6. If you were to read the whole armor of God, stand therefore, having fastened on the belt of truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and as shoes on your feet, having put on the readiness given by the gospel of peace. In all circumstances, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying at all times in the Spirit with all prayer and supplication. To that end, keep alert with all perseverance, making supplication for the saints. If you listen closely to that description of the armor of God, you notice that most of it's defensive. You've got a breastplate, you've got a helmet, you've got a shield. The only two things that could be even lightly construed as offensive are the sword, which is the word of God. That already tells us that it's a different kind of battle we're fighting. We're fighting to speak truth in a manner of love, that in a way that people can hear it, that lives might change and that truth might be stood for. And we're called to get on our knees and pray. These are the tools that we fight a spiritual battle. This is the way that we make a lasting and eternal difference. And so I pray that Ephesians 6 could be written on all of our hearts, that we would learn what it means to put on the whole armor of God, that we would not be frustrated by joining the world in a fight that it's fighting in a way that the kingdom is not called to fight. We're reminded from that story of David and Goliath, as David says, the battle is the Lord's, and he does not fight with spear or with sword. Friends, we've been called to a far different battle, and we've been given the armor of God, that we might stand firm and be found faithful. Take care, and God bless.